It's been a while since we talked about Cyberpunk 2077 and its Phantom Liberty DLC, plus the upcoming 1.7 update, which is introducing a ton of new features, but we just got some huge news and info as well as some leaks, and another update coming to the game in just a few days. Starting off with the latest news regarding the update, CD Projekt Red made a few announcements regarding the Phantom Liberty update, stating not only are there more than 300 developers currently working on the DLC, but that they're also in the final stages of development with some more additional information dropping in just a couple of months in June, which if I had to guess would be a set release date, meaning that we likely won't see the DLC until later this year. It's possible they'll be aiming to reveal Phantom Liberty at the Xbox Games Showcase, which takes place in June. I believe that's on June 11th actually, or the PlayStation State of Play Showcase, which is rumored to be massive. There were some leaks going around on Twitter that the PlayStation Showcase would have some huge reveals that put every other gaming event to shame, but I mean, that's Twitter. And the way that this is worded is like those baity console war tweets that spreads all over there. So just take this with a grain of salt, but I don't doubt that PlayStation's gonna have some big reveals. A lot of this information comes from their latest earnings report, where basically they inform investors of what they're working on and what they should expect. And they actually almost revealed something about the June reveal, saying that in June they will begin to really market Phantom Liberty, which to me hints that they should have an actual release date by then, because they're not going to advertise the game with a blank release date. But they also said they had something big to reveal in June. This is probably also because, like I said, they're still in the early stages of development and don't want to rush things and then have to delay. They also revealed that Cyberpunk 2077 has had a huge amount of success over the past few months, mainly after the release of Edge Runners, showing that it was by far CD Projekt Red's best quarter, only falling behind the actual release of Cyberpunk 2077 itself, which we kind of already knew since the player base was extremely high after Edge Runners. From what I recall, there was like at least 1 million people playing at one point, but apparently sales exceeded what they even thought. This is really good news if you're someone wanting some more CD Projekt Red inspired anime like Edge Runners, and really good news if you're a fan of any of CD Projekt Red's games, because it completely turned everything around from what happened at the release of Cyberpunk 2077 and gave us a lot to look forward to, since besides Cyberpunk 2077, we also have Cyberpunk Orion and the upcoming Witcher 4 and Witcher Remake, as well as their new unannounced IP. In fact, CD Projekt Red stated that half the company should be working on The Witcher 4 by the end of the year, which if you look at the stats, there are already a ton of people working on The Witcher 4, which is a really good sign for Phantom Liberty as well, because they were allocating most of their resources to this DLC until it was finished. For The Witcher though, CD Projekt Red has just about cancelled their new upcoming Witcher multiplayer game, which had the codename of Sirius due to it just not really working out. I mean, they didn't quite cancel it, but they pretty much have given it like a hard reset. It sounded like they just couldn't figure out an end goal for it or a route to success with it, so they're sort of reworking the entire thing, which personally, I'm not really too concerned with this multiplayer game. I'm just happy that the rest of them are still going. They've also got that new IP on top of the Witcher and Cyberpunk projects, so the next few years are going to be packed. In January, they added reflex support and DLSS 3 to Cyberpunk, which as far as I know is strictly for the 40 series GPUs. I could be wrong, but I think that's like one of the main points for the 40 series cards. DLSS 3 is basically giving a giant performance boost, so if you were having trouble running the game with some maxed out or near max settings with frame rate issues prior to January, you could probably hop on there now and not have those problems anymore, assuming you have a 40 series GPU and went into your Windows graphics settings and toggled the hardware accelerated GPU option. If you didn't know, we're also getting update 1.62 in just over a week on April 11th, which is going to be bringing along ray tracing to the game. Well, it's actually path tracing, which if you didn't know is a form of ray tracing a little bit more advanced, which processes things a bit differently to give you much more realistic looking lighting. I'm actually surprised this is coming to Cyberpunk. Granted, as far as I know, it's only coming to PC, just like that January update, but I can't imagine how this is going to look. There were some mild rumors of a subway system update, which had been going around for a bit. I mean, this rumor's been going around for a while now. I think mainly just because it looks like there was some sort of subway system originally planned, but those rumors were shot down by CD Projekt Red's community director, stating that there are no plans to add a metro system to the game. However, like a lot of the cool features, there is a mod for that if you're interested. And there are some crazy Cyberpunk 2077 mods out there. So there was also a leak a couple of weeks back, which ended up being pretty big, even getting the PR director for himself for CD Projekt Red to respond. This was posted over on Reddit, showing Cyberpunk 2077's journal, where you can find your missions, except this looks somewhat different from what we're used to seeing. For a mission called Casino Warfare, obviously referring to that casino that was unused in the base game and has had a lot of DLC speculation since Cyberpunk 2077's release, even having an entire road that leads to the casino, and when looking around that area, it'll say there's nothing out here for you yet. The menu also refers to watching a brain dance at your apartment, and Falco from Edge Runners, and a new character named Alt Cunningham. Obviously this looks a bit sketchy, like either they're really still working on this DLC and have a lot of this placeholder text, and maybe even this character, Alt Cunningham, who just looks kind of out of place and generic, is a placeholder as well. Or you could be thinking that this entire leak is fake, and this journal menu is just completely made up, and it turns out that's exactly what happened, as Radek Grobowski, the PR director for CD Projekt Red, completely shut the leak down on Twitter, saying it isn't a leak, and that none of this comes from the DLC or even the base game. So while this menu has been confirmed to be fake, it is still possible that the casino will be included. I mean, the casino is definitely something that was meant to be a DLC or an update or something, maybe even something from the original game that was scrapped. It's just unclear if it'll be part of the Phantom Liberty DLC, as well as Falco, I guess, could potentially play a role, but that sounds a little far-fetched. The casino is a bit more believable, since it seems like the DLC could potentially open up some locations that were already on the map, such as the stadium, which also had a pretty dead area despite it being this massive building, and is likely what we see in the trailer. We'll probably see some bigger new locations in there as well. We did know that someone big would be making an appearance in the DLC, as there was speculation that this mercenary looking guy is in fact Morgan Blackhand, a character who took part in the raid on Arasaka with Johnny Silverhand and had a fight with Adam Smasher during that time as well, potentially between Johnny's run-ins with him, but was never heard from again after that. You see this guy in the reveal having that same signature black hand and looking a bit different, so you'd think this could potentially be a post-raid Morgan Blackhand, but it was confirmed that this is not Morgan Blackhand by the man himself, Mike Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk, stating that not only is this not Morgan Blackhand, but that the character won't be in the DLC at all. I mean, he could obviously just be saying that to not ruin the reveal, but he also said that when you see who is in the DLC, you're going to lose it. Obviously this could have been meaning anybody, but it turned out to just be Idris Elba, who plays Solomon Reed, an agent for the new United States of America's FIA, who you'll probably have a lot of interaction with. It was already said that Phantom Liberty will be a spy thriller where it looks like you may be the one hunting the spy, since with both of the trailers we have seen, you have the president who V seems to be working with and the president's plane being shot down, and now you're tasked with trying to figure out what's going on and who did it, likely working right alongside Solomon Reed. The spy thriller part could also be referring to different aspects of the game, like maybe being able to go in disguise as someone else with this cybernetic looking mask being placed over V's face, but this mask could also be just part of the new cyberware overhaul, as it was stated that the upcoming 1.7 update, which will most likely release with the DLC, will bring improvements to the cyberware that make them feel more like cyberware. So maybe even, fingers crossed, some more visual customization to be had with these cybernetics. I know that's what I and a lot of you guys want as well, is more visual cybernetics, but I'm not going to get my hopes up about